Why are you always like this?
I'm not always like this. You're the one who started it.
Michael, must you keep running from me? Sophia's sharp voice filled the Adeyemi's sitting room that evening. She stood with hands on her waist, glaring at her husband. Michael dropped his glass of Zobo on the table and sighed. Sophia, I'm tired. You can't expect me to be doing this every single night. Sophia hissed. So, I should just stay like this? A whole husband that cannot satisfy his wife? Look at Richard next door. Olivia doesn't complain. Michael's jaw tightened. Stop comparing me to Richard. Their marriage is not ours. Meanwhile, in the O'Coffer's home next door, Olivia complained too. Richard, must you touch me every day? I'm tired. I'm not Sophia. Richard laughed. Then maybe I need Sophia instead. At least she won't complain like you. Both couples smiled politely whenever they saw each other, but deep inside, their marriages were far from perfect. They didn't know that one night of games would soon change their lives forever. Sunday afternoon, Michael and Richard sat under the small gazebo between their houses, sipping chilled drinks. Their wives were inside, chatting. Guy, Sophia go kill meal, Michael said, shaking his head. Every day she wants action. I can't keep up. Richard chuckled. You dey complain. Olivia is my opposite. She's always tired. If I beg small, she'll say headache. Michael raised his brows. So, you think my own is easy? At least you want it. I don't even like too much wahala, but Sophia know the hear word. Inside the house, Sophia and Olivia were also talking. My husband just sleeps, Sophia complained. I even wonder if he's truly a man sometimes. Olivia sighed. Richard is my own problem. I love him, but he doesn't rest. Sometimes I wish I could give him someone like you to satisfy him. Both women laughed at the joke, not knowing how real those words would soon become. The couples loved each other, but constant comparison was eating into their marriages slowly, and soon a dangerous idea would arise. It was a cool Friday evening on the Lekki estate. The Adeyemis were relaxing when a knock came on their door. Sophia opened it to see Olivia smiling warmly. Hi, neighbor. Richard said I should invite you both for dinner tonight. We made something special. Michael hesitated. He wasn't really in the mood for socializing, but Sophia's eyes lit up. Of course, we'll be there. Later that night, the Adeyemis walked into the O'Coffer's home. The aroma of jollof rice and grilled chicken filled the air. Richard greeted them with a wide grin. Welcome, my people. Tonight, no complaints, just good food and laughter. They all ate, laughed, and talked about work, family, and Lagos traffic. For a moment, everything felt perfect. After dinner, Richard brought out a bottle of red wine. Let's make tonight more fun. How about a little game of truth or dare? Sophia giggled. Truth or dare? Are we in secondary school? Olivia smiled mischievously. Sometimes adults need small craziness too. Who's scared? They all agreed, not knowing that this harmless game would lead to a decision that would change all their lives forever. The four friends sat in a circle on the living room rug, glasses of wine in hand. The night breeze blew gently through the half-open balcony door. Richard grinned. Okay, let's start small. Michael, truth or dare? Michael sipped his wine. Truth. Richard smirked. How many times do you satisfy your wife in a week? Michael coughed, embarrassed. Aha, must you ask that? Sophia jumped in. Tell the truth, Michael. He barely tries once, and even that one half current. Everyone laughed loudly. All right, Sophia said. My turn. Olivia, truth or dare? Olivia replied calmly. Truth. Sophia leaned forward. How often does Richard ask for it? Olivia rolled her eyes. Every day, sometimes twice. I'm tired. Everyone laughed again, but there was an awkward silence after. The comparisons felt heavier now. Richard broke the silence with a mischievous grin. Okay, let's spice it up. Next round, no more truth, only dares. Who's ready? They all agreed, not knowing the bold and dangerous suggestion that would soon be dared. The wine had loosened everyone's tongue. The laughter grew louder, the questions bolder. Michael, dare, Richard called. Kiss Olivia on the cheek. Michael hesitated, but Sophia laughed. It's just cheek, I beg. He leaned over and planted a quick kiss on Olivia's cheek. Next was Sophia's turn. Dare, she said confidently. Richard grinned. I dare you to sit on my lap for 1 minute. Olivia gasped, half joking. Richard, behave. But everyone laughed as Sophia sat and the minute passed. The dares got riskier, and soon Richard leaned back with a mischievous smile. Let's make this interesting. We all complain about our marriages. What if we swap wives for a week? No lies, no hiding. Let's see who really has it easy. The room fell silent. Olivia frowned. Richard, are you serious? Sophia smirked. You mean I stay with you and Olivia with Michael for a week? Michael shifted uneasily. This is madness. But the wine and curiosity worked on all of them. Richard raised his glass. We're all adults. If we all agree, no hard feelings. It's just for a week. They exchanged glances. One by one, they nodded. A dangerous agreement had just been made. The very next day, the agreement turned into action. Michael packed a small overnight bag and walked into the O'Coffer's house, while Richard did the same at the Adeamies. At first, it all felt awkward. Olivia showed Michael the guest room. You can stay here. Don't worry, I respect boundaries, she said casually. Michael nodded, trying to hide his discomfort. Same here. Let's just keep it simple. Meanwhile, at the Adeamies duplex, Richard and Sophia were laughing in the kitchen as they made breakfast together. Their energy matched perfectly. There was no shyness, no hesitation. Back at the O'Coffers, Michael noticed Olivia scrolling on her phone all day while the house stayed messy. He asked carefully, Aren't you cooking dinner? Olivia shrugged. There's stew in the fridge, just warm it. I don't cook every day. Michael frowned. I don't eat stored food. I only eat freshly cooked meals. Olivia rolled her eyes. Then you had better start cooking, Mr. Neat Freak. At first, it seemed manageable. But under the surface, cracks were already forming. Neither couple knew the storm that was coming. By the second day of the swap, the differences began to show clearly. Michael actually felt relieved that Olivia wasn't dragging him to bed every night like Sophia used to. At least, in that aspect, they matched. But her laziness shocked him. The living room stayed untidy, plates piled in the sink, and Olivia spent most of her time watching shows on her tablet. Olivia, you didn't sweep, and it's almost noon, Michael said, holding his head. She barely looked up. You like everything spotless. I'm not your maid. Relax, Small. Michael clenched his jaw. He liked peace, but he couldn't stand disorder. By evening, when she brought out cold rice from the fridge, he refused. I've told you, I don't eat stored food, he said. She scoffed. Then cook your own. I'm not stressing myself. Meanwhile, on the other side, Richard and Sophia were like fire and gasoline. They matched each other's energy perfectly, laughing, playing, and exploring their wild sides with no complaints. To Michael, the swap felt like a growing nightmare. But for Richard and Sophia, it was beginning to feel like heaven. By the third day of the swap, Michael had reached his breaking point. The house was a mess again, and Olivia was on the couch eating chips. Olivia, we need to talk, Michael said firmly. You've not cleaned, you've not cooked. This place is like a bachelor's flat. She smirked. I'm not your wife, Michael. This is how I live. If you can't handle it, that's your problem. Her words stung. Michael loved order. To him, a dirty home was unbearable. He marched into the kitchen, cleaned up, and started cooking fresh stew himself. Olivia peeked in and shook her head. You're too extra. Nobody dies from eating refrigerated food. Michael snapped. And nobody dies from sweeping the floor either. Is it so hard to keep things clean? Their voices rose until the neighbors could almost hear them. Plates clattered. Olivia stormed out of the kitchen. Meanwhile, on the Adedamies' house, Richard and Sophia were the total opposite. They laughed over dinner, took late-night drives, and their chemistry deepened. What started as a playful experiment was turning one home into a chaos and the other into a wild adventure. While Michael and Olivia argued over chores, Richard and Sophia were living in another world entirely. From the moment Richard moved into the Adedemi home, the energy between Richard and Sophia felt electric. They joked while cooking, teased each other during the day, and at night their passion burned nonstop. "This is what I've been missing," Sophia whispered one night as they lay tangled in the sheets. "You actually match my energy." Richard grinned, pulling her close. "And you match mine. I never knew it could feel this good without begging." They explored each other like two lovers on honeymoon, going on spontaneous late-night drives, laughing at silly jokes, and waking up excited for more. For Richard, it was pure bliss. For Sophia, it felt like finally being understood. Neither of them thought about the risks or the consequences. They were too lost in pleasure, while next door, Michael and Olivia were lost in irritation. It was only a matter of time before things spiraled out of control. By the fourth day of the swap, Sophia's excitement started to fade. Her body felt sore and weak, but Richard's energy never slowed down. "Richard, I need to rest," she said one evening, lying on the couch. Richard laughed, pulling her gently. "Come on, Sophia, you love this. You said you've been craving it for years. Don't stop now." She hesitated, wanting to please him, but her heart raced faster than usual. A strange tightness formed in her chest. Meanwhile, in the Okafor home, Michael was boiling over too. He and Olivia barely spoke without fighting. The sight of the messy living room and cold food waiting in the fridge drove him mad. "Olivia, this whole arrangement is a disaster. We're not compatible at all." "Then end it. You think I'm enjoying living with Mr. Complaint?" Both couples were now heading in opposite directions. One drowning in arguments, the other drowning in pleasure, blind to the danger creeping in. Sophia's body was giving her signals, but no one was paying attention. On the fifth night of the swap, Sophia felt unusually weak. Her heart pounded hard in her chest, her breaths shallow. "Richard, I can't breathe well," she whispered, clutching her chest. He thought she was just tired. "Relax, babe, you'll be fine. Just one more round and we rest," he said playfully, trying to kiss her. But Sophia's body gave way. Her eyes rolled back and she collapsed on the bed. Richard froze. Sophia, wake up!" Panic gripped him as he shook her, shouting for help. He wrapped her in a blanket and rushed out, banging on neighbors' doors, begging for assistance. Together, they raced her to the hospital. Michael and Olivia were in the middle of another argument when Michael's phone rang. It was Richard's trembling voice. "Michael, it's Sophia. She's not breathing well. We're at the hospital. Please come." Michael dropped everything and rushed out, his heart harped with fear. None of them imagined that a playful idea would soon end in the worst tragedy of their lives. Michael arrived at the hospital in a frenzy, his shirt half-buttoned and sweat dripping down his face. He rushed into the emergency ward, only to meet Richard pacing the hallway, his hands shaking. "What happened? Where's Sophia?" he shouted. Richard's lips trembled. "They're trying, but she's not responding." Moments later, a doctor stepped out, face solemn. "I'm sorry. She didn't make it. Cardiac arrest." Michael's world collapsed. He staggered back, holding his head. No, it's not true. Sophia can't be dead." Richard tried to speak, but Michael shoved him. "You killed her. You pushed her beyond her limit." His cries echoed through the hospital corridors. Olivia arrived shortly after and froze at the sight of the two men. She covered her mouth in shock as Michael fell to his knees, weeping uncontrollably. The playful swap had turned into a nightmare. A wife was gone, and nothing could bring her back. The news of Sophia's death spread quickly across the estate. Neighbors whispered in shock, wondering what truly happened. Michael sat in his living room the next day, red-eyed and broken. Richard and Olivia came over to speak with him, but as soon as Richard opened his mouth, Michael exploded. "You killed my wife, Richard! You couldn't control yourself!" he shouted, his voice shaking with rage. Richard raised his hands defensively. "Michael, I swear I didn't mean for this to happen. It was a heart attack. The doctor said so." "I'm pressing charges," Michael declared bitterly. "You will pay for this." Olivia burst into tears. "Please, Michael, don't make it worse. It was all of us that agreed. Nobody forced Sophia." Michael refused to listen. He went to the police, but after investigations, there was no evidence of foul play. It was ruled a natural cause. Still, the friendship between the neighbors shattered completely. The experiment that started as a silly dare had ended in death, bitterness, and public disgrace. Weeks passed, but the wound refused to heal. Michael buried Sophia in tears. Her absence haunted every corner of their home. He barely spoke to anyone and avoided the O'Coffers completely. Richard and Olivia's marriage also crumbled under the weight of guilt and blame. They fought constantly. Olivia screamed one night, "If you had any self-control, none of this would have happened. You've ruined our lives." Richard snapped back, "You agreed to the swap too. Don't put all the blame on me." But deep down, they both knew their marriage was broken beyond repair. Neighbors gossiped. Their once lively home turned cold and silent. A few months later, Olivia packed her bags and left. Their divorce papers soon followed. What was supposed to be a playful one-week dare had destroyed 2 homes forever. Months later, Michael stood alone in front of Sophia's grave. The sun was setting over the quiet Lekki cemetery, and tears streamed down his face. "If I hadn't agreed to that foolish game, you'd still be here. I should have been content with what I had." Across town, Richard lived alone in a small rented apartment after the divorce. His wealth and charisma meant nothing now. Everywhere he went, people whispered about the scandal. The guilt never left him. Both men learned their lessons too late. Comparing marriages had led them down a dangerous path, and their reckless decision had cost them everything.